What do you say? What do you know? It's the full Monty Sports Show. My wire's all tangled up here, but we just got that fixed right before we went on the air. It is Sunday, March 27th, 2022. I am your host, Monty Perez, aka the Sports Whisperer. I want to thank everyone for tuning in last week. We had 31 states tune in across the country watching the full Monty Sports Show. And as you can see by our new opening, we are now at over 310,000 views on TikTok, over 310,000 views on TikTok. So for everyone who is supporting us, everyone who is, really liking these shows, telling friends about us, telling family members about us, we really appreciate it. Make sure to give us a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe and follow me on TikTok. Again, that's Monty Perez 231, and on Twitter, Monty Perez JP231. Now, we have the best guests all across the country. This week is no exception. My co-host on Monday night, we're going to be starting up Monday night shows in a couple of weeks once the NBA playoffs start. We're going to have Amory join us in about 10 minutes and Brad Ward. I'm going to tell them this when they come on. It's almost like I feel like I've become their siblings. Anytime something goes on with the Vikings or the Timberwolves, people are texting me, emailing me, what's Amory think about this? Or, with the Cleveland Browns and the Cavs, oh, Brad must be so happy. So they've really become like my online family, these two. So really appreciate them coming on. And of course, always keep the comments coming. We have a bunch of phrases that we try to talk about. And every time we say these phrases, people take a shot, they take a drink. It's happy hour somewhere. And of course, we love scanning the crowd. Keep the comments coming. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. We start each show with the good, the bad, and the funny. Let's start each show with the good, the bad, and the funny. Okay, let's start with the good. Pretty obvious here. Congratulations to Coach K and Mike Krzyzewski getting to another Final Four. He has now passed John Wooden, going to Final Fours. He also win yesterday. 101st NCAA tournament win yesterday with this Duke Blue Devil team. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I watched this team. I've liked Duke. If you look in here, you could see my Duke mug proudly hanging up there. But this is not the Duke team that you're used to, right? With, a Bobby Hurley, a Grant Hill, a Christian Laettner, a Kyrie Irving, who was only there, I think he played less than 15 games, Kyrie Irving. But these guys were legitimate superstars. They were legitimate scorers. You could rely on these guys to score 18 to 25 points a game. Kyrie Irving would drop 28. This Duke team is not like that. They don't rely on one player, right? Now, Banchero may be the number one pick in the draft or the top three, but they have 5 or 6 guys who are going to get drafted, maybe late first round, but they have 5 or 6 guys who can score 15 to 20 points a game. They don't rely on one guy. If you look at the box score last night, their top 6 players all had over 9 points. Williams played a phenomenal game. And for all you conspiracy theorists out there who are saying, oh, this is rigged, it's fixed for Duke. Kentucky and Duke are the number 1 rated college basketball programs as far as revenue, as far as TV. Everywhere John Calipari goes, the cheater himself, it's literally must-see TV with Kentucky. And Kentucky lost to St. Peter's. So if this thing was rigged in overtime, St. Peter's beat them, Kentucky would have won. So stop with this BS that, oh, it's rigged, which goes to my next point, St. Peter's. St. Peter's, I have no idea why I'm putting that one up there. But St. Peter's, okay, I put Cat up there because we're going to talk about this with Amory and Kentucky alum. But St. Peter's, okay, this is St. Peter's College. It was literally 5 miles from where I used to live. Look at their gymnasium. It's a glorified high school. Look at that picture. It's a glorified high school. Now, some of the greatest sports movies of all time. Hoosiers. Gene Hackman. Go to the state championship. Win a state championship. Rocky. Underdog. goes toe to toe with Apollo Creed for 15 rounds. Vision Quest, right? Vision Quest is a movie about a wrestler in the mid 80s. And there's a scene in the movie where he used to work at a hotel, and the nighttime chef at the hotel takes off work, and he's going to see this guy wrestle against his rival, this guy called Shoot, who hasn't lost in like 2 years. And he says something, and I never understood. He said, I was sitting in my room, and one night I was watching a soccer game, and Pele did a bicycle kick, the soccer player, and he scored. And I'm sitting in the room, and I just start crying. He's like, because for one moment in time, a human being made the world a better place, and I got to witness it. Now, look, I coach college basketball, okay? Had a winning percentage of over 800. My last coaching was AAU 11th grade. I won a championship. I stopped coaching. When I coached college, I made it to the playoffs 3 out of the 4 years that I coached. We went to the Elite 8. We lost by 1 point to the national champion. I still get emotional watching this. And I'm even more emotional watching today because I despise North Carolina. And just once, can we live the movie? Can we see Hoosiers? Can we see Rocky? Can we see Vision Quest? Because I got to be honest with you. My biggest upset, the 1980 USA hockey team, I was too young to know what the hell was going on. Yeah, I was happy, but I didn't understand it. Buster Douglas over Mike Tyson, that's an individual sport. Can we just once in our lifetime see the movie come to play here? Can we have St. Peter's, the 15th seed, beat North Carolina just once? Just once. That would make me happy. That would make me so happy. As a former coach, as a former player, you dream about this going up against, and I got to be honest with you. If St. Peter's gets to the Final Four, they're going to play Duke. Talk about David and Goliath. Coach K, 42 years coaching, second all time in tournament championships behind John Wooden. And they would play St. Peter's. I don't know who I would root for. I would be totally torn. Totally torn. But just once, can we just live the movie? Can we see St. Peter's, who has an enrollment of about 2,500 undergrads, take on North Carolina and beat their ass? Can we see that, please, today? That would make me happy. All right, that's the good. Now I want to get to the bad. Packer fans, you're not stupid, right? You're not stupid. You're not a stupid fan base. But I don't understand why you're defending Aaron Rodgers here. Okay? My friend Jared's like, "Oh, he's making 50 million, but it doesn't go against the cap." Really? That's like saying I had 6 light beers and I'm okay to drive because it's not real beers. What are you talking about? It's $50 million. The last time the highest paid quarterback in the NFL made it to a Super Bowl, 2009, Peyton Manning, and they lost. By the way, going back to the college basketball, if Miami and North Carolina win, the last time 3 teams from a conference, they'd be representing the ACC, the last time 3 teams from one conference went to a Final Four was 1985. Georgetown beat St. John's, Villanova beat Memphis, and then Villanova went on to win the national championship, beating Patrick Ewing. So if Miami wins today and North Carolina win today, we'll have 3 teams from the ACC in the Final Four. But getting back to my point about Aaron Rodgers, again, the last time a highest paid quarterback went to the Super Bowl was 2009 Peyton Manning, and he lost. He lost to the Saints. So don't tell me this is not going to affect the team. You already lost Devontae Adams. Now you just lost another wide receiver. Smith has went to the Minnesota Vikings. So don't tell me, oh, it doesn't matter. It does matter. $50 million. Now, just to put that in perspective, and I don't want to hear this BS because he's married to Giselle. You think Tom Brady is borrowing money from his wife? Tom Brady's worth $250 million, people. You think he has to borrow money from his wife? When Tom Brady was with the Patriots, he averaged $15 million per year. He's making close to now $26 million, almost half of what these three guys are going to make. Aaron Rodgers is making double the amount of money than Tom Brady. Rodgers has 1 Super Bowl. Tom Brady has 7. And you're paying him double. So you can't have it both ways, Packer fan. You can't say, let Aaron Rodgers get paid and then bitch and moan when he's going to be throwing to a wide receiver from North Dakota State next year. Listen, I'm all for players making the most money they can, but don't bitch and moan when you can't sign players. They just lost 3 of their top 4 players, 1 on defense and 2 of their top wide receivers, because they can't afford to pay them. Why do you think the Chiefs just traded Tyreek Hill? They signed Juju Smith-Schuster. They signed Scantling from the Packers, because now they have to rebuild and they have to figure out what they're going to do with Patrick Mahomes' contract. All these people defending Rodgers. He's 11-10 in the playoffs. What are we doing here? $50 million. Tom Brady's making 26. That's where all you need to know about Aaron Rodgers and the Packers and an organization that just doesn't get it. That just doesn't get it. Okay, that's the good, the bad. Now let's get to the funny. So I don't care how people look. I don't care if someone has a purple mohawk. I don't care if people have tattoos. I don't care if people have earring. I don't care. Your appearance means nothing to me. If you feel good about yourself wearing something that I think looks ridiculous, good for you. I respect you more. But again, it's always Florida. It's always Florida where you just see, hear crazy things that happen. It's always Florida no matter what. So there was a guy who went to Taco Bell for lunch at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, gets his order, pulls up, and falls asleep as he's driving out. Puts the car in park, doesn't even go to the side parking lot, puts the car in park after he gets the food, rolls up about 20 feet, and literally falls asleep. Police come, wake him up, and they say, can we have your ID and your name, please? What does he do? He hands the police a taco. The police, have you been drinking? No, sir. Guy wasn't drunk, wasn't high, just fell asleep. The police ask him again, please tell us your name. He hands him a taco. Finally, the cop says, I need to see your ID. This man changed his name from Jonathan Stevenson to Taco Taco. He has over 20 tattoos of tacos on his body. How much do you have to? I love buffalo wings. I love steak fries. How much do you have to love food? As you can see here, look at this guy. He's got a picture of McDonald's, Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, Burger King, and KFC. I mean, I got to ask you this question, and this is a serious question. Are these guys winning in life, and am I losing? I mean, he loves tacos so much, he changed his name to Taco Taco legally. And he had over 20 tacos on his body. And look at this. What is it? What is this? Amory's in the background taking pictures of this. I think she wants to get those tattoos. All right. All right. Let's see what's going on here. No, listen. Tom Brady isn't starving. He's not. He's not. Greg, yes, to a degree. You can't pay someone that much money, whether it's a wide receiver, a quarterback. The quarterback is the most important player on the field, but you're right. You cannot give someone $50 million. No one's worth that money. Michael Jordan wasn't worth that money. 50 in a salary cap league, you can't do it. Yeah. Tacos do make people happy. Tacos do make people happy. I agree with that 100%. Okay, let's bring on Amory, one of our favorite guests. Amory,
Hi. Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine. Are you loving this right here?
Yeah, I had to send it to Kyle because it's so funny.
I mean, this guy. I mean, all I have to say, I say this all the time when I see people, paint their face, dress up at a football game. I'm like, how does their wife or how does your wife? Forget about the guy's build. I don't care. I'm not talking about his build. Just the tattoos. How do you explain that to your significant other? Hey, Marie, if you're dating someone and they take off their shirt and they display these tattoos, are you saying I need to make better life choices?
Yes. It's so funny though because I love Taco Bell, so I love that story.
So you can identify with him having all the tacos.
If you haven't had their spicy Cool Ranch taco, you got to get on top of it before they're gone.
So, hey, Marie, follow your career. You were just a color commentator, weren't you?
Oh my gosh, I started color commentating for high school basketball here in New Mexico, and I'm obsessed with it. It's so fun.
Did the team that you were covering, did they win?
Yes, they did.
Oh, okay.
It was so. I mean, yeah. So it might, but it's hard because you get so into the game. So it's so, yeah. It's a fun skill I'm learning. So, but I'm really enjoying it, especially because I grew up playing basketball here. So giving back to my community is awesome. So exciting.
Here you go, Amory, the sports diva. That's what people are calling you.
Oh, sports diva. I like it. I know I missed you guys. I haven't been on in a while.
It's been a while. Well, we're going to start the Monday shows soon, so we'll get to that. All right, let's start right off the bat. Let's talk some NFL, and Brad Ward will join us in a minute. I want to talk about your Vikings in a couple minutes, but first, are you following the Final Four? Are you emotionally invested as I am? Because
yes.
I'm obviously Duke fan. Talk about that for a second.
March Madness is everything, right? Like there's nothing like it. And it always gets me through my depression when football's over. So, except I'm so mad because, I'm like a degenerate gambler and like all my they've been done. But so now I'm just hoping for amazing games. I would love this UNC Duke matchup, of course. That would be magical. And I mean, come on. Just like you said, like the movies, I don't know. None of my teams are left in the Final Four that I had, but all of them. I have no teams left in the Final Four that I think are going to the Final Four.
I had Duke and Kansas, but my bracket is a mess. I want St. Peter's to win just because I grew up right by there. It's such a great story. So it was literally 5 miles from my house, but it's like a glorified high school. I mean, I've texted people their gymnasium. I've texted people their school, their class size, and people. I mean, look at this, Amory. It's like a high school gym.
Oh,
that's St. Peter's right there.
Yeah. Couldn't afford to get the cheerleaders there. And
I'm going to talk about that at the
fans,
end. Yeah, I'm going to talk about. And Amory, we're getting your mic is kind of fading in and out. Hold on. Let's see what we got. Let's try again. Now you're on mute. You're on mute.
Does that sound better?
Much better. I think when you move, your mic is like staticky. All right, let's bring on your buddy, your friend, Brad. How are you today?
Hey, am I late? I thought you said 11:20.
You're not late. Amory came on in the beginning, and I'm getting texts. Hey, when because I posted this picture before Brad, and Amory started laughing hysterically. Because this guy got all these tattoos of fast food on him. So,
oh my gosh.
Amory was just laughing hysterically. So I just got her on to watch that. How are you, Brad? How's it going?
I'm good. How are you guys? It's the gang is back together. I love it.
The gang is back together. She's sipping on fizzy. Brad and I have 10 pages of notes.
Yep.
Oh, look at Amory's got. We all have notes. See, that's why I always have you guys on. Always prepared. Okay, Brad. Let's just start right away. We just talked to Amory. I grew up right by St. Peter's. I said this is like the modern day Hoosiers. Are you rooting for them? Who are you rooting for? Do you want to see them obviously do something that they've already done something that no other school has done? 15 seed advance to the Elite Eight. Is this as big a story for someone who's not from New Jersey and lived 5 miles from there to people around the country as I think it is?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm rooting for them, right? The underdog. That's what you do in the tournament. I hope they win. The craziest thing, I don't know if you mentioned this, but first time team in New Jersey has made it this far since whenever, Providence, maybe?
Seton Hall.
Seton Hall.
Yeah.
And their head coach was on that team.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. How bonkers is that?
I said last week, Sheen Holloway, he was a Seton Hall. They made it to the Sweet 16. And
Yeah.
by the way, he won the MVP in the McDonald's All-American game in high school with Kobe Bryant, with
Wow.
Jermaine O'Neal. Shaheen Holloway won the MVP of that high school All-American team, but I coached him at Seton Hall. I was the commissioner, and he won the championship. And he talked trash even back then. He's like, Coach Mont, I'm winning this thing. Where all the other players who were coaches for the little kids would show up hungover, don't care. He was there early doing drills with the kids, and he won the championship. But yeah, I mean, listen, this is like a glorified high school. I keep saying it. They have less than 2,500 undergraduate schools. I'm dying for them to. I can't stand North Carolina as a Duke fan.
Right.
So,
Really?
but someone from across. I mean, you live in Ohio. You're in New Mexico. It's a big story, right? I mean, people are really gravitating towards this team.
Absolutely, yeah, a huge story. I mean, how can you not, right? They are the underdog, the Cinderella story, and that's what the tournament's all about. To be perfectly honest, Monty, my interest in college basketball has waned in years. I don't know why. I don't know if it's more because of my attention to NBA and the NFL or whatever, but this time of year is the only time of year I really pay attention to it, to be perfectly honest. So
Yeah, no,
I am not
I agree. I
college
agree.
football or college basketball. College football, yes. College football. I am not a college basketball expert by any means.
Well, no,
But,
I
yeah.
mean, I used to always watch college basketball growing up, but now because everyone makes a tournament, I may watch 2 or 3 Duke games a year, and then I'm all in. And quite honestly, the NCAA is fine with that because they make so much money off this tournament that it's literally they don't care that the regular season. I think some WNBA games do better than college basketball games on Monday night on ESPN. But I will say this: Amory brought it up. Shame on NBC. Okay, NBC. St. Peter's couldn't go to the first round. Their cheerleaders, they couldn't afford it. So NBC says, after they beat Kentucky, NBC says, we're going to send the cheerleaders out there. We're going to flip the bill. This way, it's a great PR story. They had their camera crew there. They took all the pictures. A multi-billion-dollar company, NBC, sent them on an 11-hour bus ride from New Jersey to Indianapolis. Like, come on, man. I get it. It's a nice gesture, but you can't fly them?
Most colleges have charter planes too, like something. Like
take an 11-hour bus ride. How much of?
Is he frozen?
He's frozen.
Hold it.
It's okay.
Okay. So, NBC's a multi-billion-dollar company, and this is what happens? Come on, man. You can't fly them out?
How could a booster not flip the bill for them to fly there? First of all, why did it even have to come to NBC? You're telling me somebody that went to, I'm sure somebody that went to the school is very wealthy right now. Couldn't have kicked in a little bit for them to take a first class flight or whatever to to be there. Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, and what I don't understand either is, you look at the Seton Hall budget. He's making $250,000 a year. The Kentucky assistants make $300,000 and more. So you talk about John Calipari swing and a miss. What are you doing, dude? You lose to that one? I mean, that's, you lose to a school that has no budget. But it's not just Kentucky. I hope that St. Peter's carries their momentum. And it's all about guard play now. North Carolina is big. They want to go inside out. Kentucky tried to do that. Didn't work. St. Peter's has three guards that really control the tempo, so hopefully they win. All right, let's move to the NFL. Enough about the NCAA.
Yeah,
let's start with the
background the whole show if you want. I really enjoy this background. It's been on the whole show, and we can keep it if you want.
It's nice, isn't it?
I do that to make you feel welcome. All right, Amory, let's start with your secondary team, the Colts.
There's a new we call it team-in-law now.
Okay, all right.
So Kyle and I are engaged. I haven't seen you guys since. Very exciting news. But
Rock?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Can we see the Rock?
Oh, well, you're going to laugh. It's a Vikings ring right now.
Oh, that's awesome, though. Hey.
I mean, it's so me,
I love
right?
it.
I got a ring before the Vikings did.
So let's talk about
though. They call the Colts team-in-law. It's really funny.
Okay, they got a solid quarterback. I think Matt Ryan has a lot of years left in him. I think he's an upgrade from Carson Wentz. What's the reaction to getting Matt Ryan?
We are relieved in our household, and he, like you said, he's a veteran quarterback. they needed leadership. Carson Wentz isn't a leader. He has a lot of experience. He's been in a Super Bowl. He has a good team around him. And they're hoping that, also there might be a Julio Jones reunion coming in hot, which would be really cool because they need a receiver. But besides that, I think this is a great fit. And he's a good quarterback. He has a good couple years. So big relief. They didn't want Baker. So that's good.
Yeah, and I think if they don't get Julio, would you expect them to draft a wide receiver?
Oh, definitely.
I just think they need speed because I do love the kid out of USC.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Pittman's a great possession receiver, but they need a game breaker, right?
Yeah, and they need probably a tight end now, but yes, definitely for sure. But I think that's a great. I'm very happy for the Colts in my.
Yeah, I think it's a good pickup. Go ahead, Brad.
Yeah, I got a bone to pick with the Colts a little bit here. So, not a bone to pick, but okay. First of all, Matt Ryan. Okay, I see it. I get it. I would have done him over Baker too. My only issue is this. I watched Matt Ryan at the end of last year. That arm is turning into a limp noodle. He can barely throw the ball down the field anymore. He is on a rapid decline, and I am concerned for your team-in-law in that retrospect. Also, Chris Ballard, you got a great roster, bro, but you also have the 5th most cap room, and you do every year, and you don't spend any of it. Go out and get some players.
Poor Kyle was just sitting here every day during free. He's like sitting here. He's like, when is he gonna make?
What's he doing?
Move. When is he gonna make a move? All these quarterbacks just dropping. Russell, everyone's, and he's just sitting here like.
What's he doing? Every year he does this. It's like he's waiting for, I don't know what he's saving his cap space for. He keep rolling it over and rolling it over. Spend some money. Now is the time, man. I mean, I get it that it's an arms race and the AFC is absolutely loaded, and that's, other than that, I think that I would feel a lot better about the Colts other than all the other upgrades, right? But besides, I just wish he would go out and get some players. He has the money to do it. You have the team that could entice players to come in. I like Chris Ballard. I think he's a great GM. But get aggressive, man. Now is the time, brother.
And not just that. I think a lot of players really like Frank Reich. They like him as a coach. They like his philosophy. I think they're going to have success. But to your point, Brad, there comes a point in time. We all know the San Antonio Spurs built up their team through the draft. They don't get any free agents. Greg Popovich doesn't believe in it. What are you doing if you have all this money and you're not spending it? Like Brad said, go out and compete. Go out and spend some money. I don't understand. We see San Antonio still living off this philosophy that will build through the draft. You got to go out and get free agents, Amory.
Absolutely. So, and they're already a solid team. So I'm just curious to see what they do here. And they lost a lot of draft picks with the whole Wentz fiasco. So I don't know what's going on. But Matt Ryan, good pick. Great pick. Didn't have to give much.
And I think they will win that division. I think Tennessee takes a step back. Jacksonville, we know, is a team that's constantly.
Hey, Matt Ryan is 4-0 against the Jaguars. I'm like,
and look at Jersey Girl. She goes, I spent all my money. Yeah. So why does
me too. Me too. Hey, that's right.
All right, Brad. I look at the Miami Dolphins right now, and it kind of reminds me of when Jimmy Johnson came into the league and just got players who were fast, right? Fast on both sides of the ball. Speed. You got Tua. You got Chase Edmonds, Raheem Mostert, Tyreek Hill, 28 TDs since 2016, most in the NFL. Jalen Waddle. How good can this offense and this team be?
I think they can be good, and they'll be a lot of fun to watch. My problem is the guy that's throwing him the ball. Right? You can have all the speed in the world, but until you have a guy that can deliver it to them, then you still got an issue, and I am not a Tua believer. I land him somewhere between 20 and 25 probably in quarterbacks in the NFL right now. That's not great. I think they'll be competitive on a week-to-week basis, but are they legit Super Bowl contenders? No.
Wow, okay, so you're not buying the hype. Is it just because of Tua?
Do you think Tua can take this team to the Super Bowl? Really? Let's be real.
Patriots over the Dolphins still.
Yeah, I think they're not even.
Their division.
The weapons are fantastic, but it's all for naught if you can't, it pushed the ball
listen,
down the field.
Brad, you lived it in Cleveland, and I've said this on the show numerous times.
No
I don't
doubt.
want my quarterback to have everything perfect around him for him to succeed. I want him to, you're down 14, 7 minutes left, your wide receivers on the bench with a hamstring, and you carry this team. So you make a fair point, but I just think they're going to find creative ways. Look, they in a division with all the BS that was going on last year, a coach who was offered $100,000 to tank games, 2 years ago, they were back to back winning seasons, first time since 2003, 2004. So the talent level is pretty good.
Yeah, they have a good defense too. Like I think they're a good team. I just don't know if I would put them. The AFC has leveled up, right?
Yeah.
Like I just don't know if I would put them in the elite. Same with the Colts. It's like kind of like I would put the Colts. No offense, Amory, and in Miami in that like second tier of AFC teams. Yeah, they got a chance. They got a chance to make the playoffs and make a run. They could win their division. Probably not. The Dolphins aren't going to win their division, but I would just say I don't put them as elite in the. Yeah, they got elite wide receivers. They got elite weapons, but as an elite team, no.
Yeah, and I do think the Colts have a much easier division. Like I said, I think
For
the
sure.
Titans will take a step back, and the rest of that division is kind of a joke. All right, Amory, listen, you were just in Vegas, so the hype is real. You look at what the Vegas Raiders are doing, and they just got the best wide receiver, and for my money, in the game. You couple that with some of the talent they have, the Wallers. Hunter Renfrow had 100 catches last year. How good is this offense going to be with
And
Devontae
Josh
Adams, who's had
Jacobs.
238 catches in the last 2 years?
I think they're going to be great. And obviously, we know that Derek Carr and Devontae Adams have already a bond and really good friends. Monte, I got to say, I just loved you just going on about the Packers and Aaron Rodgers at the beginning of the show. It just like made my morning. I was just like, hurry, I'm in love with this show already today.
I missed that.
So I guess, Brad, basically, I just said $50 million.
Packer fans just like support Aaron Rodgers, and I'm just gonna love just the fall of it all. But Devontae, yes, at age 29, I still think he has a lot of good years in front of him, and I think he is worth the money. I mean, people are just paying out the wazoo now, aren't they? But I mean, this they already had a good year. It's just this division is gonna be, and has been super tough. But I think the Raiders, I think this is going to make them very successful and very competitive in this. I mean, Devontae Adams is Devontae Adams, right? And Derek Carr and him have a pass. And I'm glad he left the Packers.
Brad, basically what I said is the last
Packers are.
I said the last time the highest paid quarterback made a Super Bowl was 2009 in Peyton Manning. In a salary cap league, I don't want to hear, the $50 million is cap friendly. When you make $50 million, it's not cap friendly.
No, it's not. And look, all your star players are leaving because he's selfish.
Thank you.
Listen, man. I don't know what Green Bay's doing. That's my take on this. Oh no, I mean I'm sure he agrees with me, but like I mean the Renfrow, Waller and Adams all together. I mean they're going to be a very good offense, but like Rodgers knew when he signed the deal that Adams was going to leave on the other side of this, right? Like he knew that it wasn't possible to do both. I don't think that at least that's the story I read that. You know, when he signed his deal, that basically meant that his boy, that they were all talking about the Last Dance last year and stuff and posting the pictures of Jordan and Pippen and all that, right? That his boy was going to depart because they weren't going to give him the money. You know, he was pissed when they signed him to the franchise tag. Yeah. So I don't know. My whole story in this is great. Yeah, the Raiders are going to be good. They were already pretty good. They're doing what they can to level up. They get a huge weapon here. Once again, not completely sold on the Raiders. Don't know. I mean, I think they'll be very good, and that division's loaded. But I don't know if they're the best team in that division.
Well, Brad, let's talk about that because we have this division now, and let's be honest, no one's talking about the Chiefs but they picked up 2 pretty good wide receivers, right? They got Juju Smith-Schuster, who can be a head case. They got Scantling from the Packers.
The Packers.
You look at this division, I think the Chargers are going to be better. The Broncos with Russell Wilson. I mean, is this the most talented division in football right now?
I do think it is right now. Yeah, I would say yes. Tyreek Hill listen, Juju Smith-Schuster, pardon me, can't ever say that idiot's name. And sorry, you threw me off now. And MVS, right? MVS fits what the Chiefs want to do with speed-wise, right? Like, he's a total speed freak, so they're going to try to use him in that Tyreek Hill mold. I'm sure they're going to take a 4-3 guy in the draft. There's a bunch of them. But let's not kid ourselves. Him leaving that team is he's a huge usage. When you look at his usage in that offense, it is enormous, right? Like, that's a huge step down for them. I don't know if you can fill that void with Smith-Schuster and MVS. Now, Andy Reid, I do believe in. He'll find a way, right? Mahomes is fantastic. He'll find a way. The Raiders are loaded. The Chargers, I kind of think the Chargers are the best team of the 4 right now. To be honest. They have been awesome in this offseason. I mean, like, look, they have been all over it, right? J.C. Jackson. I don't have the list in front of me, but they have had some they brought back their weapons at wide receiver. They're loaded up for a run, and I like them better than the other 3 right now. Listen, you go out and you get the Broncos go out and get what's his name? Come on, help me out. Russell Wilson. This is not a repeat of Peyton to the Broncos back in whatever year that was. This is not the same thing. So I am not all in on. Listen, these teams are really good, all 4 of them. Let's not kid ourselves. The Chiefs will be there. They have a shot at it. The Chargers have a legit shot at it. I'm not fully believing in the Raiders and the Broncos yet. I think they have great talent, but I got to see it first.
So, Brad, just to piggyback on what you were saying, the Chargers were ranked 32nd in third down percentage, giving up a first down 49% of the time. They ranked 29th, giving up 27 points. They have Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, Derwin James, J.C. Jackson, Asante Samuel Jr. in there. I mean, that is a stacked. You talk about the Rams, how they had Jalen Ramsey. They had, what's his name, 99, the best defensive player.
Aaron Donald.
Aaron Donald, and then you had their linebacker that they acquired from Denver. They had 3 studs. This Charger team now has like 6 or 7 absolute playmakers on defense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I absolutely loaded. Love what they've done this offseason, and I like them and the Chiefs the best in this division. I will say that I do think, and maybe it's the bias in me, that the AFC North is not far behind.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, and we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about the Vikings. Okay, Amory, we've had the Vikings background up. I'm going to change it in a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
But you must be loving life because I'm bashing the Packers, and anytime Brad can bash a Pittsburgh Steeler, it's definitely must-see TV when he called Juju Smith-Schuster an idiot. So, you must be loving life.
He is an idiot.
Brad.
Let's be real. Let's be honest. He is an idiot. He is an idiot.
Have fun.
Well, it's funny because someone said, I don't know what's worth, Patrick Mahomes' brother or Juju Smith-Schuster on social media. So I thought that was pretty funny. Okay, Amory, let's celebrate. Again, taking away from the Packers, the Darius Smith he signed a 3-year, $42 million deal. This guy, when he's healthy, is just nonstop motor, positive, fun. What a great pickup for the Vikings. You're not only signing someone who could get to the quarterback, but you're taking part of the Packers' strength away.
Mimi at the quarterback 2.0, baby. Elite pass rusher, again, when you said healthy. On the opposite of one of the best pass rushers in the league, Danielle Hunter. Again, the only red flag is they both have been suffering from injuries. But these 2 together, if they can stay healthy, it's going to be insane. Because our offense, even though people like to blame Kirk Cousins, has been the problem last couple of years. It's been our defense. So, but I love Smith. I think he's going to be great in the locker room. But him and Danielle Hunter, I just can cry with excitement.
Amory, is it a stretch?
Secondary, they're going to help our secondary so much. I'm so excited.
is it a stretch to say that they could lead the league in sacks and the weaknesses that you
yeah.
have in the weaknesses that you have in the secondary can be masked a little bit if the quarterback's always under pressure, and you could see the defensive turnovers go up this year because the quarterback's always under pressure.
Oh yeah, they're going to create mismatches. Oh, it's going to be so fun to watch them together. I'm just so excited.
Now, when the story first broke, were you like, "There's no way he's going to sign with us"? Or you were pretty confident?
I'm pretty damaged as a Minnesota Viking fan, and I have no expectations or hope or belief in anything anymore. But I was like, no way, no way, no way, no way, no. And then it happened. So I'm like, I'm not getting my hopes up. That's all. That's why I've learned as a Minnesota Viking fan, you just don't get your hopes up.
But when healthy, he's very good.
Great.
Okay, Brad.
Real quick.
Go ahead.
On the Vikings, am I wrong? What's going on with Danielle? You were talking about Danielle Hunter. Didn't I hear that he was getting shopped, though?
No, we're keeping him. He was. That was like 2 weeks ago, but he's staying. Right. He's ours. He's ours.
There was some sort of contract dispute. It looks like it went guaranteed on the 20th. Yeah, that's my bad. Okay.
His bonus, too, and that's so emotional damage.
All right, Brad. Listen to your podcast Saturday, yesterday at the gym. Really enjoyed it. Great job. You were talking about basically the Deshaun Watson press conference. For those of you who don't know who Deshaun Watson is, he's been accused, and as far as I know, this is no longer ongoing, except there might be some civil lawsuits. He's been accused 22 times by 22 different women, right, of sexual harassment and misdeeds. Now, here's what I'll say. Okay, if I was accused 22 times, if I was dating, of cheating on my girlfriend or cheating on my wife, I would say, hey, either my wife is insane or I'm doing something wrong. If I was accused 22 times of stealing from my family's trust fund, if we had one, I'd say, hey, maybe I'm doing something wrong. If my boss accused me 22 times of not working on the job, at what point do I got to look at myself and say, hey, maybe I'm doing something wrong? The only thing I didn't like in this press conference was the fact that Deshaun Watson never said anything like, maybe I've surrounded myself with the wrong people. It was just like, nope, I'm innocent. Here's what goes. Dude, 22 times you've been accused of something. How do you not take some sort of responsibility?
Yeah, I think you probably saw my tweet on that topic too, and I got a lot of backlash for saying that. There was a question in the presser where it was Mary Kay Cabot asked him about counseling, right, or therapy. There was many hot button topic points in this presser. It was 45 minutes long, and it was very attacking, very combative. The Cleveland media was very, very you're guilty, you're getting away with something approach to this press conference. It was ugly. It was really ugly. I've never seen Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski, who are very cool, level-headed people, very uncomfortable throughout.
Look at their face here, Brad. Look at their faces. They look totally bewildered and almost defeated.
Right. Now, so let's start from the top here, and I'll kind of just all right. So Watson, 22 accusations. Now, according to Andrew Berry in this, they used unbiased, independent investigators. If he called it a 5-month odyssey into Deshaun Watson and this case, right? The person and everything surrounding this case. He talked about how, they used unbiased investigators. So, either way they could attain the information, the girl's side, his side, all the information, the depositions. And they came to a point where they felt comfortable with the person, Deshaun Watson, right? Legally, they can't say his innocence or guilt because there's still 22 civil cases pending, which is what made this press conference really it was like them dancing around the buzzwords they can't say, right? Because there's still 22 cases pending. Now, in the court of criminal law, he faced 9 indictments in 1 county in Texas. They failed to indict him. Monte, you tell me. My understanding is it's not hard to get an indictment, right? Like the bar for indicting someone on a criminal charge is not high. So the fact that they failed to indict him on those 9 cases and then another case that happened in another county came up this past week, which the Browns were aware of, and he was not indicted on that. So why are they failing to indict him on any? So he's clear of all criminal charges now. There's nothing coming down the pipeline. That's it, criminally. It's all civil now, right? He claims in the press conference that he wants to fight all 22 cases.
Brad, but you brought up on the podcast. You brought up.
Yes.
Why would, and again, great job. You should have been in the press conference because you brought up a great point. You said, why didn't someone ask, hey, isn't it worth it just to settle? If you're all in on the Cleveland Browns and you want to play, just move on because people are going to think he's guilty no matter what, right? So just settle and move on.
Even if he fights all 22, first of all, fighting all 22 cases, for a civil case, and once again, Monte, you probably know more about this than me, but my understanding is if you're not there one day, they award the case to the other person. So he has to be in court
process, right? Yes,
every day.
Yes.
22 civil cases is going to take forever, right? So, probably the NFL, and this is what I've heard from a couple people that I've talked to about this, that the NFL won't, if this is ongoing and he's fighting these cases, they're not going to let him play probably put him on the exempt list, and then following that, he's going to get hit with a suspension of some kind, unless he's found completely innocent, and he probably still will get a suspension of some sort, right? They're just shorter, probably, in that case. You don't have to be found guilty or proven guilty to get a suspension from the NFL. So why not, if people are going to think this of you, whether you fight it or not? And my question would have been, if it means you getting on the field sooner, would you consider settling the cases? Let's be real. Move on with your life. He's just taken this gray, dark cloud from Houston and just moved it over Cleveland. And until it's settled and he can move on with his life, they're going to feel this way about you either way. And the suspension comes down from the league. You're just putting off the inevitable, and there's just a ton of question marks around the whole situation. Get some closure, move on with your life, right? You beat the criminal part, pay the women. You guys got $230 million guaranteed. Pay them. If you're innocent, it's the cost of doing business as a professional athlete and putting yourself in that situation. If you're guilty, then you owe to pay them. So one way or the other, pay them. Back to your thing on the therapy question, my whole thing was, listen, if you truly are innocent, you're at least guilty of bad decision making for being in this situation. So, and I get, in retrospect, people that are pointing out to me on Twitter, and I said, so when he shot down, I just thought it was a bad look for him to be asked about seeking counseling and being like, I don't need to seek counseling, I don't have a problem. Like, that was doubling down one too many times for me. Like, okay, pump your brakes on that. He kind of got to where I wanted, like, I would be open to have conversations with people so I don't end up in this situation again. But that's where he should have started with it, like something phrased like that. But he's got to be careful that any comment he makes can't be twisted into an admission of guilt because of these pending cases. He kept pointing to a point further down the line, and I'll finish with this, Monte. He kept pointing to a point further down the line where he can speak more candidly and kind of say, this is what happened, my side. This is what they're saying happened. They're lying. He can't say they're lying because of the case right now. So I don't know what to believe. I'm not going to judge. I don't know. Only he knows. Only the women know. There's some suspicious things on both sides, right?
100%.
It's weird that after he decided to leave Houston, these cases all popped up, and the lawyer ran down half the women himself, right? So that's weird. Just the fact that you're seeing this many massage therapists is weird. So, hey, that's where I'm at with it. I don't know if he's guilty or innocent. As a Browns fan, though, settle it. Move on, serve your suspension, and get on the damn field, please.
Well, Brad, here's my next question. Great job. Yes, let's give him a round of applause. But I will say this. I don't understand, because a story came out a few weeks ago from ESPN saying that the Browns want an adult in the room. They're moving off of Baker, which is fine. But my next question is, how much do you hate Baker Mayfield when you're bringing in a guy who may not play for another year? The Browns have had to know this, right? With the suspensions, with him fighting the civil cases, So he might not play for another year. So, like, how much do you hate your starting quarterback when you're adding all this drama into your life right now?
Well, listen, the moment they took that flight to Houston, Baker was over, right?
Right, right.
That it's done at that point, and and they know that, right? If they know Baker Mayfield well enough, the stories I'm hearing about Baker Mayfield from people that are close to the situation, sort of, right? His work ethic has been questioned. His leadership this year in the locker room has been questioned. I think they decided, he said this is a 5-month odyssey. Do the math. That's the middle of the freaking season. They were ready to move off of Baker Mayfield regardless, right? I think plan B was Garoppolo or Mariota, right? In my personal opinion. That's what I've heard, at least. So, if this didn't go through, it wasn't going to be, hey, Baker, can you come back? Let's make up. It wasn't going to be that. Baker's done either way. And nobody wants him right now. They're going to have to give a trade piece just to get rid of his contract at this point, it sounds like. I think he'll end up in Seattle probably, but who knows, right? Either way, this whole thing, your point about the adult in the room, there's a difference between adult in your personal life and being an adult on the field and in the locker room and in the press. Baker Mayfield is a child on the field, in the locker room, and in the press, where Deshaun Watson, up to this point, has been an adult on the field as a leader and in the press. That's the difference for me. Personal life, football life, separate the two. That's what they're talking about when they say adult in the room. So people are like, oh, that's so hypocritical to say they needed an adult in the room and get Deshaun Watson. Understand what they're talking about here. They're not talking about his personal life.
Yeah, and honestly, you watch Deshaun Watson play. The guy's a solid professional on the field. He's a playmaker. Players love him. Even when he was leaving, I remember J.J. Watt was like, "Man, get out of here!" Like J.J. Watt was on Houston. Offense and defense love this guy. Again, how many massage therapists are you going to where you keep having this problem? Just a bad look. Okay, Amory, we're gonna get to you. How much time do you have before you have to leave?
I got like 7 minutes.
Okay.
Oh, I screwed you over. I'm sorry. I went too long.
We'll go longer. We'll get Amory here.
More important than the Packers slowly becoming second in the NFC North.
Not true.
So you have the second pick in the 12th pick in the draft. What are the Vikings doing?
Well, and it's so funny because we're sticking with the usual, even though Zimmer was the cornerback whisper. I'm excited. Supposedly, from rumors that we're going after some cornerbacks, our number one prospect for the 12th overall pick is from Cincy, Ahmad Sauce. They call him Sauce Gardner. So I don't know much about this guy, but I'm excited because our secondary blows. And there's a lot of
love him.
So I would love to pick up a cornerback in the first round. And focus on our defense in general. I'm not really, and I'd like a linebacker for the second round, but overall pick, let's go cornerback. Fix my secondary.
Yes, 100%. And you know what? I think you get a defensive back, you get a linebacker. You look at that offense. They come back. If Cook is healthy, Thielen is healthy, they are still legitimate. I think Justin Jefferson is a top 5 wide receiver.
Irvin Jr. is going to be back. I love Irvin Jr. So I'm pretty stoked for the Vikes.
Okay, before we get to Brad, Amory, we're going to close you out. I want you to talk about the Minnesota Timberwolves. This team, they've beaten Golden State. They've beaten Dallas. They've beaten elite teams.
Just beat the Mavs.
Are they a legitimate threat to upset a team in the first round of the playoffs?
I think they can. I think they can go deep in the playoffs. I don't think they're going to win it all. But, why aren't we talking about Karl Anthony Towns as like an MVP? This guy is unbelievable. And what really sets apart these Timberwolves from past teams is their defense. 8th overall best defense in the league, and the trio, Edwards, Towns, and Russell, they're incredible. So, and I wouldn't sleep on them.
Well, are you shocked at how good they've played, or you kind of expected this during the year?
I think just they keep getting better. They just keep getting better, and when timing is everything in sports. So I think they're getting ready at the right time, and they're really coming together on offense too. So now with beating the Mavs, they could be a 4th seed, a half game behind Denver.
Yeah.
So listen, this is going to be very fun.
The West is really weird because you have 4 or 5 teams that could be a 3 seed or an 8 seed. They're all coming together. Obviously, the Phoenix Suns 60-13. They're just knocking it out of the park. I'm going to talk about this at the end of the show. I don't know if they could win a championship with one legitimate scorer in Devin Booker. But Amory, who do you have as your final 4 in the NBA?
Oh man.
Okay, before you answer, this team is a total fraud. The Bulls
Oh
are
yeah,
0-16.
I like the Grizzlies. I think the Warriors are gonna do it, man.
And in the East, are you going with the Nets and the Bucks?
I don't know about the Bucks. I mean, I'm about the net. All right, I'll do it. I'll go for it. I
like the Bucks.
I think that's what the world wants.
Well, Kyrie can play now because they lifted the thing, so he's playing.
Yeah,
home
weird.
games.
Just in time for playoffs.
Yeah,
Weird
exactly. Funny
Weird.
how that happened.
Works how just all of a sudden gone. Brad, I really do like the Cavs though. Not this year though, buddy, but I really like them.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a second. Amory, how can we follow you? How can we support you? Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, I have missed you guys, and let me know when you need me on a Monday night. Follow me at Part Time Bro on anything. Listen to me on the Sports Animal, and my comedy special should be coming out soon. I'll keep you all posted.
Love having you on.
And I'll be at the NFL draft. I'll be at the NFL draft covering for the Sports Animal. So if you guys need anything while I'm there, let me know.
I might need a live. Can I get a live correspondence on my podcast from the draft from Amory? Yeah. Let's hook it up.
Yep. I got
Amory,
you.
show us the ring one more time.
Oh, you guys are gonna love it. I know. It's one of those silicone Viking rings. The best part is like girls are all weird about rings or whatever. Some girls that don't know me, they're like, "Let me see the ring," and I show them, and they're like, like, it's so funny.
I love the line, "You got a ring before the Vikings did."
I did get the ring. I'm locking it down for the Vikings too. So,
thanks, Amory. Love having you on. See you in a couple weeks. All right, Amory always does a great job. Okay, Brad, let's talk about the Cavs. They've kind of hit the wall lately. Can you see them upsetting someone in the first round, or you're just happy to be in the playoffs?
Listen, man, you kind of said it in the message you sent me. They are kind of playing with house money at this point. Listen, the injuries they have sustained have been brutal, right? So all the way back to before Rubio, then Rubio, who was playing, having the best year of his life. Then they bring in LeVert, then Jarrett Allen, the worst of all, right? So, but Jarrett Allen is supposedly coming back here. His update is that he broke his finger. His update is that he's doing more things. They expect him back sooner rather than later. We are running up against the end of the season. They lost 2 critical games this week, right? They played. They were at the 5 seed. They played the Raptors and Bulls, who were on either side of them, and both were tough loss. They came back from 20 down last night, ended up losing anyways to the Bulls. They've fallen to the 7 seed, so they would be in a play-in game right now, which is not great. But either way, I think if they could get Jarrett Allen back, they would have a chance to maybe win a first round, depending on who they play, or at least win a play-in game and get in, right? I think that would be really valuable for this young team more than anything to just experience a 7-game series or a fight. You know what I mean? Just get in and play a playoff series. That would be a success in my eyes. And overall, overarching thought in the Cavs, Garland is a freaking superstar.
He's a
man.
stud.
This guy is amazing.
Brad, before Rubio got hurt, I was saying he could have been comeback player of the year. He was having a phenomenal year. Then he gets hurt. Do you think they should have kept him, or you were like, you know what, I understand why they traded him?
Oh, I understand why they traded him. They're trying to, at that point, they were flirting with like the 3 seed in the East, right? So it felt like they needed another ball handler who could create shots on his own, and LeVert was that guy. So I understand why they made the move, because I think his deal's over this year. He's not going to play again this year, so he was going to be gone this year. I mean, they may bring him back on a free agency contract.
But I'm saying, if he didn't get hurt, do you think they would have traded him?
No, because I think he would have. He can fill that role. Like, he can create for himself, create for others off ball handling. He's great in the pick and roll. He's terrific. I think he's a better player than Levert, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I thought he was having a phenomenal year.
Yeah.
And, one thing about Rubio is, he really does a great job of making players around him better. He gets everyone involved. He's an assist guy. He has put up 30-point games, like he can score, but that's not his thing. But I thought Ricky Rubio, before he got hurt, was a comeback player of the year. Okay, we're going to go back and forth here now between the Cavs, the NBA, and the NFL. Want to talk about the Browns here. They do not have a pick in the first round, but they do have the 44th pick. Is that correct?
Yeah, they only had to give up one pick this year, so they do have I think 8 picks still.
What are they doing in the offseason? How are you improving this team? Are you going after a wide receiver?
Yeah, you have to. So, all right, we already, Amari Cooper, right? Traded for Amari Cooper. That $20 million doesn't look so bad anymore after some of the recent contracts, right? And I think he's a legit number one. I like that move a lot. For Julio was asking about if Baker was going to start with Watson was suspended. No, they have brought in Jacoby Brissett. Exactly. To be their backup now, which I think is a nice little move. The guy started 37 games in the NFL, so I like him to fill in. He's not great. He's like a 500, maybe keep him from around 500 when he's not, when Watson's out. But he is their backup option at this point, and a guy with mobility like Watson, so they don't have to change so much, right? And I think that was the idea there. Go ahead. You're gonna say something.
Can Peoples-Jones be a legitimate number two, or you're saying no?
I wouldn't bank on it. I don't think they will bank on it. I think they're going to go get another receiver. I know they want to. There's all these stories about Jarvis Landry fired his clutch sports agent. I guess he thought he was going to get $20 million.
Yeah.
On the free agent market this year. Really, Jarvis? But that's a little. I don't know where he got that idea. That's maybe why he fired his agent. But that's kind of a pipe dream, I think. But there is some interest for him coming back potentially now. Can they come together on a number? I don't know. It'll help the Browns a lot. They have $22 million in cap space still, and they still got Baker's 18 on the books, so they got a lot of room they can work with to go out and sign some additional players. I think they'll add a wide receiver in free agency, maybe a tier 2 or tier 3 guy, and I think that they'll draft a wide receiver. I would love to see him get David Bell or somebody like that in the second round of the draft at 44. They also need to address the defensive line. I think they'll get a veteran, shade nose, big body, run stuffer type in free agency, just because you can't really find those guys that can play right away in the draft. That needs to be more of a veteran position. And then they'll probably try to find some stopgaps on the interior of the defensive line. I think they already have a contract out there for Clowney. He hasn't taken it or rejected it yet. 2 years, $24 million. We'll see what he comes to on that. I think they'll eventually get him back, though.
I think they'll get him back. And so you like Peoples-Jones as a number 3?
I like him as a good rotational piece this year, depending on what you bring in, right? I think he can do certain things for you. He has been a terrific in training camp, but just not quite lived up to it. Now, he had Baker playing subpar football, throwing him the football. So maybe that's the difference that it needs to make, but I wouldn't put all my eggs into Peoples-Jones being the number 2 on this team. Maybe they feel differently about him, but I think they'll get somebody else.
Okay, and you said they do have some money, so they can acquire some defensive pieces up front.
Yeah, they definitely need to at least get some stopgap one-year deal guys in there to bolster the interior of that defensive line. Malik McDowell got in trouble with the law. He's going to be gone. Their other free agent, the other Malik on the other side of him who was really good this year, he's gone. So the guys they've drafted are good in certain roles, but they don't have any 3-down guys in there, right? So they need to acquire some guys that can play some more downs in there. I think they'll probably fill the interior of the defensive line like that, though. This guy can play this role, this guy can play this role, and kind of stopgap it for a year, maybe look for a long-term solution down the line. I think they should draft an edge in the draft, too, at some point, though. You need a long-term solution here. You can't keep doing 1-year, 2-year deals with a guy like Clowney.
Right. And why I look at this division now, right? Okay, obviously the Bengals have acquired some offensive linemen. Their weakness. Well, as long as Joe Burrow and Chase and Mixon are there, they're going to put up points. I think getting Mitchell Trubisky was a solid move for the Steelers. They have a ton of talent around him. So I think they could be defensively. We know that Mike Tomlin, whatever you want to say about him, he's never had a losing season. And
Sure.
you look at this division, it's going to be tough, Brad. It's going to be tough, even with even if Watson starts with day one, which will be a miracle. It's going to be tough for the Browns to win 10 games. Am I wrong in saying that?
I think if Watson played, like let's fast forward to 23, right? If Watson at that point is good to go, best case, it's not going to happen. Let's be real about it, okay? But if he were to play from day one, I think they could win 10 games. I do. I think he's a difference maker, and this roster's already loaded, in my opinion. So, yeah, I do. And I think I trust that Andrew Berry will add the pieces necessary to make this an elite roster. It already is pretty good. Excellent, I think. Defensive side of the ball, very good. You look for Denzel Ward's extension to come here this offseason. And look for them to add, Clowney back, hopefully, and maybe another edge to fill that Tack McKinley. They like to run that, a couple edge guys on the line of scrimmage. And I just think they're going to be really good. I do. The run game with Watson in that offense, you got Amari Cooper, you add another weapon, you brought in Njoku back. I think that they could be just as good as anybody else in the North.
Ton of
with
RPOs,
Watson.
right? Ton of RPOs, run pass options.
With Watson. And Watson has ran this offense with the Texans. I mean, it's very similar. The wide zone scheme is very similar. And Stefanski talked about it briefly in the press conference. He said it'll look a little different with Watson because he can do some different things, but, the base is going to be the same. So I expect him to do really well when he gets on the field eventually.
Who lands a starting job quicker, Baker Mayfield or Jimmy G?
Whew.
Because it doesn't seem like anyone wants Jimmy G or anyone wants Baker. I don't think Jimmy G's going to end up in Seattle. I think Baker's going to go to Seattle.
I think so too. It's like the music is stopped, right? And there's only one seat left. It feels like Seattle's the last, the last seat, and they're trying to sit down as fast as they can. But it's so complex. I would have thought Jimmy G would have already acquired a starting job, in my opinion. To me, he's an upgrade over a number of quarterbacks around the league that teams should have already made that move. Like, I thought he would have been fine in Indy. I get they like Matt Ryan better, but to me, between me and you, Monte, I feel like Matt Ryan's on the decline.
Yeah, I can see that.
So,
the one thing
arm strength, we'll see.
The one thing I will say, you brought it up, the arm strength. What does help him is he's not going to an outdoor stadium, right? Indy plays indoors, but so did Atlanta. And if his arm strength is not strong indoors, it's not. And I'm a Marcus Mariota guy. He's going to start this year. I feel bad for him because I think Atlanta has very limited offensive weapons. So I think Mariota is going to have to carry the team. They're not putting him in the best position.
Between me and you, I was hoping if it filled with Watson, I was banging the table for Mariota. I would have loved for the Browns to taken a shot on him or even acquired him as a backup. But good for him getting a starting role. It's crazy. These guys go play backup and do nothing for a couple of years. Trubisky, Mariota, and their stock just goes straight up. Just don't play football, and you'll get better in the eyes of the NFL. It's wild, right?
That's a good point. All right, Brad, let's talk about the NBA. Who do you have as your final two in the West and your final two in the East?
So in the East, I have the 76ers and the Bucks.
Whoa! You're high on the Sixers, huh?
I am. You're not? You don't think they can do it?
Let me tell you why. Well, first, Doc Rivers has 29 losses when his team's about to clinch a playoff game, a playoff series. Most in the history of the NBA. James Harden.
He also has a ring.
He does. James Harden has historically shrunken in the playoffs. I think one of the reasons why James Harden wanted out of Brooklyn is him and Kyrie got into a fight in practice, and Kyrie said, "You're washed. You're not the player you were because you don't do anything in the offseason." Like Kyrie called him out. I think James Harden always shrinks during the playoffs. I like the Sixers, but when you look at that division right now, you have Milwaukee's big three. I think they're going to the finals. We saw what Brooklyn did to the Sixers when they had a sold-out crowd in Philadelphia. James Harden was playing, and they got blown out. And James Harden was like 3 of 17. So I don't. I
It was
like
a bad
the Nets,
game.
and I
It was like
Milwaukee.
Yeah, I understand that completely. I like the Nets too. But listen, man, they're gonna have to play a play-in game to even get in the playoffs,
They might.
Monty.
They might. Yeah. But they have two of the
Um,
best closers in the game, in Kyrie and
okay,
Kevin Durant.
I don't think Simmons is gonna play this year.
No, he's not. But they don't need him. They got enough shots for those guys.
I think they do need him. I think they do.
Okay. All right.
They have. You're big. You think they're playing Drummond like 22 minutes a night, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And splitting the 5 minutes with Claxton. Is that going to do it against Joel Embiid?
No. Joel Embiid will get his points. Joel Embiid, again, he's another one who should be considered for MVP. Luka should be. Trae Young should be. No one wants to talk because they suck. But what LeBron James is doing right now is phenomenal in his 19th season. But I'm surprised you're this high on the Sixers.
I think Embiid has the MVP sewed up, to be honest. Listen, here's why I'm high on him, right? I've watched a lot of them since Harden went there with intrigue, right? I think when they figure it out, and I've seen glimpses of it, when they figure it out, they are almost impossible to guard when they figure it out with Harden and Embiid. So I like them in a 7-game series. Teams trying to stop. When we saw Denver make their run, when a center is hot and can't be stopped in a slowed down physical playoff setting, it's a different game in the playoffs. Physical, slowed down, pace is not as high, less possessions, get the ball to Embiid. Harden has been a fantastic facilitator. I think once they get that rhythm going there, I like the 76ers. To beat teams over a 7-game series, I think teams are just going to have a really hard... I think Embiid is the MVP, and I think teams are going to have a really hard time stopping him.
One thing I do like about the 76ers, you look at their top 4 players, Embiid, Harden, Maxey, and Tobias Harris, they all shoot over 78% from the free throw line. So if they're up late in games and you're fouling them, they will close you out, a lot like Villanova does in the NCAA tournament. They're number 1 in free throw percentage. So if you foul these guys late in the game, and you bring up a good point. Joel Embiid gets to the line, and so does James Harden. That's easy buckets in the postseason.
Hey, man, Tyrese Maxey is fantastic.
He's great.
I don't know if you've watched him, but he is incredible. He could be most improved player in the NBA, in my opinion. He has been fantastic this year.
The best thing to happen to the Sixers was Ben Simmons not playing because Maxey took over the leadership role, and he's phenomenal on both ends of the court.
I mean, people are questioning me in the chat stuff about 76. They're the 1 seed in the East. I mean, it can't be that shocking that I picked them, right?
Listen, I got killed because I had the number 1 seed Packers beating San Francisco at home, and then all these people on TikTok were like, "Oh, you call yourself an expert?" I'm like, dude, I was 11-3 in the playoffs. Why are you judging me for 1 game? No, it's not a stretch. They're the number 1 seed in the East. I mean, I don't know if you saw what happened with Miami, but Jimmy Butler, if you go to TikTok, if you just look this up, Jimmy Butler in the huddle, they were losing by 25 points. He says to his head coach, "Let's fight then." And the coach goes, "What, you want to fight me?" And all of a sudden, Udonis Haslem, Mr. OG, says, "I'll beat your ass" to Jimmy Butler, yelling at him. They've lost 4 straight because Jimmy Butler wanted to fight Eric Spoelstra, his coach. Jimmy, what are you doing?
Interesting statistic on Jimmy Butler, and I just heard this the other day. Like, guys with questionable tags on the injury report, right? They generally play like, in the NBA, they do that as this, banged up, that, load management, whatever. Players generally play probably like 70-80% of the time they have a Q tag, right? Butler plays like 50-some% of the times he has a Q tag. Right. To me, he's a bit of a prima donna. So
no, he's a prima donna. And again, like, what are you doing? Like, challenging your head coach to a fight. Eric Spoelstra, because I watched the video like 100 times. Eric Spoelstra just basically goes, "You want me to effing fight you? What's wrong with you?" Like, I mean, it was insane. It was insane. But God bless Spoelstra. He didn't back down. He went right after him. He threw his clipboard at him. He's like, "F you." Like, it was, I have coached, I have reffed, I've watched a million games. I've seen other coaches go at it with players. I've never seen at a timeout a head coach and the leader of the team challenge each other to a fight?
Well, how would you handle it, Monty?
Well, I will say this. I had one player who wanted me to fight him because everyone was lifting, right? When I went to Ramapo College, I said, I will come here to coach, but I was an assistant. I have to take over the weightlifting program. And our center never lifted a weight in his life. And I said, Kevin, all we're asking you to do is everything that every other player is doing. I said, everyone's getting stronger. You haven't been to the gym in 2 months. You're a starting center. He goes, you don't think I'm a man? Let's go outside and fight. That's what he said to me. I said, Kevin, I'm not going to fight you. This is not what it's about. It's about you doing what everyone. And to Spoelstra's credit, he said, you're the leader of the team and you're challenging me to a fight. He goes, what are you doing?
Well, I would have sent him to the locker room, to be honest. I mean, you have to make a stand at that point, right? Like, that cannot be allowed, leader or not. Like, appealing to his sense of common sense isn't going to work. He has no common sense. He's challenging you to a fight in the middle of the game. Your coach, Eric Spoelstra, a little 5 foot whatever of him. I mean, come on. He would kill him with one punch. I mean,
and I will say this: they've lost 4 in a row. They've lost 4 in a row now, Miami, and they've been getting blown out. They just got blown out by the Nets. So, I've always said I'm not a believer in the Heat. Again, it's the same reason why I'm not a believer in the Phoenix Suns. They have one scorer in Derek in Booker, and the Heat have one legitimate scorer in Jimmy Butler, and the players and coaches don't like him now. How are they going to win?
Yeah, I'm not a believer either. You know who I do like as a sleeper team in the East, and you probably, I don't know what you think, but I mean, Celtics are playing really good basketball.
Yeah, my friend Andrea said that because I did a top 5 list, and she said you didn't include the Celtics, and I'm like, because they're not a sleeper. Like, they are legit. They struggled the first half of the year, new coach. Now they're in the top 4. The Celtics are definitely a team to reckon with. And let's flip to the West. My sleeper team in the West, I think the Atlanta Hawks, if they get in the 7th and 8th seed and they play Miami, I think the Hawks healthy can win a series or 2. But in the West, I really like Memphis. I don't think they're going to win the title, but they just beat Milwaukee without Ja Morant. They have a bunch of veterans and young players. My sleeper team is Memphis, but I still like Phoenix and Golden State to get to the Western Conference Finals. Who do you have?
I have the same. I have the Suns and Warriors, but I will tell you I have the same sleeper team every year in the West, okay? I am a huge Quinn Snyder fan. I love Quinn Snyder. He is the best, man. He is the best. Well, you don't like Quinn Snyder?
I love Quinn Snyder, but it's the Utah Jazz to me are the Dominique Wilkins 1980s Atlanta Hawks. They're going to win 55 to 60 games. They'll win the first round, and they never get past the second round. You have Donovan Mitchell, and who's your second option? Rudy Gobert, who has no low post moves. He's like Clint Capella, who's just, a tip-in dunk. I love Quinn Snyder for the regular season. I love Utah, but they never get past the second round.
I think they can, though. Donovan Mitchell is fantastic. Bogdanovich, when he's healthy, can be your second scorer. You just need him to get hot at the right time. Gobert is a presence in there. He's better than most centers in the West. I mean, I like them. They play great defense. They play up pace. Royce O'Neal's having a career year shooting. I like him. Mike Conley is still good when he's healthy.
Jordan Clarkson can light it up.
Clarkson is a great scorer off the bench. I like their roster. I love the way they play basketball.
Okay, so who do you have in the West? Do you have Utah making it to the Western Conference Finals?
I can't pick them to do that. That's who I'm rooting for. That's kind of like your Memphis to me. I just love Quinn Snyder so much and the way that he coaches and they play. That I'm a big fan of them. But I'm the same as you. I have the Suns and Warriors. Unfortunately, I probably have the Warriors coming out of the West if they can get healthy enough.
I mean, I think if Steph can play, that they are legitimate. And so you have the Sixers, Warriors in the finals.
I do.
Okay, and you have the Warriors winning it?
Wait. No, I never said the Sixers were going to the finals.
Okay.
I said I had them in the East final.
So you have Milwaukee again?
I have the Bucks going to the final against the Warriors.
Yeah. No, that's a legitimate pick. I think that when push comes to shove, the big three in Milwaukee is the best in the East and the best in the West. And I will say this: people don't like him, but Grayson Allen has been a good fit. They got Serge Ibaka to replace PJ Tucker, so I think Milwaukee is due for another NBA Finals. All right, Brad. How can we follow you? How can we support you? Love listening to your podcast. Yesterday, you did a tremendous job.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. It was a tough topic to hit, but thanks for listening. Follow me at Ward on Sports on Twitter. You'll be seeing lots of podcasts coming out, lots of stuff to talk about with the Browns for sure. So we have some really big guests coming up. I don't want to say them because they're not totally in ink yet, but I think we'll have some big guests coming up here in the next week or two. So listen to the podcast, All Eyes on Cleveland, where all popular podcasts are found, and on YouTube. Occasionally. Sometimes we do audio only. Depends on the guest, right? And time and stuff like that. So, but you can always find the podcast where all podcasts are found. You can go to www.alleyesoncleveland.com, our website. And I write for USA Today Sports Media Group's thebrownswire.com.
Brad, what do you like doing better, the podcast or the live YouTube shows?
It's the same to me. Right. Because I produce the show myself. A lot of people have producers now, right? I have a little help with that, but because I do it myself, it's a little harder on the YouTube side. So I like doing the YouTube better, but sometimes, man, I just don't have time. Like, sometimes I'll get somebody that's a good guest. It's like, hey, this happened today. You want to talk about it? I don't have time to get graphics up and stuff, so we'll just fire it up and do a podcast like we did the other night.
Yeah, no, and it really great stuff. Again, a difficult topic with Deshaun Watson, no matter how you sit on it. I agree with you wholeheartedly. He's got to make better decisions, man, because like I said, if I was accused 22 times from my boss of not working, from 9 to 4, I would say I'm doing something wrong.
So somebody on Twitter to that post wrote, "Okay, Mr. Glasshouse, who of us isn't guilty of that, like get bad decision making?" And I'm like, bro, if you put, I've made all kinds of mistakes. I've made a million bad decisions. We're not talking about me here. Hell, I'm all for going to see a counselor. Hell, I probably need to. I mean, what the hell? I'm not afraid to admit it. What are people talking about?
The problem with certain athletes, right, is they always think that they are not just athletes, actors, politicians. We're seeing that now. People think they're above the law. People think that, because I'm this person, I could do what I want. And it just shows, people who still live. I say this all the time about coaches. One of the reasons why I didn't like Rex Ryan is because he never evolved. We got to run the ball. We got to play defense. Well, what happens if you're down 17-0 at the end of the first quarter? How you don't have a plan B? Life is evolving. And again, if I was accused 22 times of something, I would look in the mirror and I would say to myself, I'm doing something wrong.
The weirdest question he answered in that press conference was about the 22 massage therapists. It's like, how do you come to a point where you've reached out to 40 massage therapists over a period of time, right? 22 complaints. And he's like, oh, I think he explained it. I don't even know. I might have I think I got rid of it, but he said something to the effect of, it's a youth thing that we use social media to seek out massage therapists, and that's kind of how that happened. And I was like,
correct
what?
me if I'm wrong, but if you have a good massage therapist, or you have a good masseuse, you have someone who does your nails, someone who cuts your hair, don't you go to the same person every time? What's with the variety?
That's what I don't understand either, but I guess this is something, he made it seem like it's normal to want to try to get massages from different massage, like, oh, well, let me try this massage therapist, oh, they're excellent, let me try them, reach out to them on social media. Like, that's maybe something that the youth of today is doing. Seems bizarre to me, but maybe that's what he kind of alluded to.
Old. I have a lot of friends who are younger. No one's going to massage therapists on a daily basis.
Yeah, well, we also, don't. I get it. Football players, right? Take care of your body.
Take care of your body. Yeah.
I get it. The money too, right? Like they, this is maybe what they do free time, but I don't know what to make of it, Monte. I've looked into a lot of it. I'm not pronouncing his innocence or guilt. I just think it certainly looks bad. And some of the questions I thought he could have been coached to answer better than he
I
did.
think your guest, I forget his name, said it the best. He goes,
Jake Burns,
when these guys have press conferences, the head coach, the guys running the team, and we'll end with this, they were always confident. They always had the right answers. One, they didn't have any answers. And two, why wasn't the owners there? I don't understand that.
Great
Why
point.
weren't the Cleveland Browns owners at that press conference? Why are you leaving these two guys to get fired at with no protection?
Yeah, they did there's owners meetings, right? But in this to Jake's point, in this situation, this kind of a decision, you need to be there. Dee Haslam had a lot to do with this decision. I'm sure she had to sign off on it. She's huge into the women groups and aspects, and the Browns have been excellent as far as inclusion. Women coaches, Dee Haslam, women's groups, charities. They've been excellent with that stuff up to this point. So, and Dee Haslam, I think, is the head of that committee, right? So, like, her allowing this to happen, her being there would have helped the situation, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree. I was shocked that they weren't there. But again, you taught me a lot just by listening, so I appreciate that. And Brad, thank you, because when I post clips on TikTok, you're always getting thousands of views talking about the Browns, talking about the Cavs. We're at 310,000 views on TikTok in just a short month, and you're a big part of that. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Really appreciate you taking the time out.
Hey, you're a hell of a lot better than Juju Smith-Schuster is on there. I'll tell you that much.
I appreciate that. And probably Patrick Mahomes' brother, but he gets a lot more views than I do. So,
Absolutely.
All right, Brad, thanks. We'll see you down the road. Really appreciate it. Great
Thanks.
job by Brad Ward. Great job by Amory. I want to thank you all for tuning into the Full Monty Sports Show. Make sure to give us a thumbs up. And yeah, go to TikTok. Follow me on TikTok. Follow me on social media. My TikTok is Monty Perez 231, and on Twitter, MontyJP231. So I'm going to close the show real quickly. March Madness, very emotional for me. I coached college basketball. I coached AAU. But one thing that really just drives me insane is when we're rewarding these coaches and we're talking about coaches who have done nothing but cheat their way to the top. John Calipari went to UMass. They went to a Final Four. He leaves UMass, and what happens? They get sanctioned. They get hit pretty hard by the NCAA for violations. Okay? Then John Calipari goes to Memphis. What happens in Memphis? They go to the Final Four with Derrick Rose. He leaves Memphis, and they get sanctioned, and they get fines. They get suspension. They lose scholarships. Seeing John Calipari lose to St. Peter's was one of the best sports moments of my life, because I've met John Calipari. I know what the type of person John Calipari is, and the media doesn't tell you about it. This guy, he may have changed. He may have evolved because he's won a title, but this guy used to be about win no matter what at all costs. And the two schools that put their faith in him, the Memphis Tigers and UMass, they put their faith in him. And when he left their programs in shambles, in disarray, in disgrace. And what did he get for it? He's one of the highest paid coaches in the NCAA. And every time he goes on a talk show, every time he goes, to talk about basketball, people treat him like he's a god. He cheated his way to the top at UMass, at Memphis, and now he's being rewarded for it. Again, he may have changed. I'm all for giving people second, third chances. But let's not remember what he did at UMass and what he did at Memphis ruined those programs for years. For years. So that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Not saying I'm a saint, like Brad just said. Not saying that I've made bad decisions. Okay, but I've coached college basketball. I've coached AAU. And what he did at UMass and at Memphis was just terrible, terrible. And he got rewarded for it by a huge contract with Kentucky. And let's be honest, he underachieved in Kentucky. That team has top 5 recruiting every year, and he's won one title. He's won one title. So enjoy the games today. You have Miami versus number 1 Kansas. Again, if Miami and North Carolina win, they will be the first time since 1985 that 3 schools from a conference, the ACC tournament, will make the Final Four. This happened in 1985 with Villanova, Chris Mullen, St. John's, and Patrick Ewing of Georgetown. I'm rooting for St. Peter's. I'm rooting for Kansas, and I'm ultimately rooting for Coach K to win his 5th title, and hopefully he'll go out. Listen, whether he wins or loses, he made it to the Final Four, and that's all you could really ask for, right? With Coach K, that's all you could ask for. It's his last year coaching. He's done a phenomenal job, and now they are on to the Final Four. Okay, we will be back next Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, live on YouTube. Thank you for watching. In the immortal words of Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. That will never be broken. They hit big shots. Luka, I think the Clippers have no idea. Oh, look at that reaction. Look at that reaction.